Just look at it. It's like a xenomorph and a race car had a baby. From this carbon fiber front wing to the rear wing, to the overall nose cone of this car, the tubular design, this thing is just ridiculous. It looks like it's gonna rip your face off standing still. So one would hope that it actually has the performance to back up this just boisterous style. When you come to the back, well, it's just an engine sitting over the rear wheels with this plastic cover and air intake right behind your ears. But most notable, specifically on this car, is the carbon fiber rear wing. And I'm told it makes actual downforce. Now, this is one of those few cars where I could give a damn whether it makes downforce or not because it just looks so cool. Really, all joking aside, the whole mantra of this vehicle was lightweight and balls to the wall driving. And you look at just the overall design front to back, yes, it's open wheel. You can see the actual push rods. You can see the suspension working. You can see the wheels turning. It just helps the overall driving experience. And even if you're not somebody that's a hardcore driver, you're gonna appreciate all the little details that are here. Along the side, you have these acrylic side panes that kind of protect rocks from flying in. And it just protects you from extra air blowing all over the place too. It's a nice addition, but you don't actually have to have them. Same thing with the windshield. It's double laminated. It's not structural, but it will protect you against rocks and all that stuff. It's not gonna shatter is the point. The side pods are active cooling for, it's a radiator and an intercooler. They have a liquid to air intercooler here for this turbocharged motor. Just all over the place, you can appreciate the fact that you can actually see what's going on here. Not everything is just all covered up and hidden from you. Getting inside the Atom, well, that's, doesn't have doors. So hopefully you can straddle this thing. If you're a girl, don't wear a dress. To start the Atom, well, first you have to hit the battery cutoff switch. And then you have to flip the ignition switch on, toggle switch here. You hear burbling, you hear all the mechanicals come to life. And then it's time to start it. Has a push button starter. Then all you hear is that motor behind you. And it's just something very different that you're not gonna experience with most cars. Now to turn it off, you're not gonna hit the starter again or you'll grind it, but you just flip the ignition switch down and voila, pull the parking brake, which is over here on the left-hand side. And then of course, you probably wanna hit that battery cutoff just to be safe. The Atom is just a minimalistic experience. This is not full of creature comforts. That's not what this car's about. There's no heat, there's no AC, there's no radio or any type of speakers in here. That means there's no heated steering wheel or seats or massaging seats. They've just dumped all of that out here and just left you with the bare essentials. A manual transmission, a clutch, a brake pedal that is not connected to ABS. You have a rotary knob here for your brake force distribution, front to rear. I mean, this is all about driving. And if you're somebody that can appreciate the basics, this is one of the few cars left that's being manufactured that caters to somebody that doesn't want all the bullshit that we keep seeing in modern cars. So we are inside TMI manufacturing. We're gonna take a look around and just see what they got going on here. When I started planning this trip to visit TMI, I realized right away I knew next to nothing about them, or the small town of South Boston that they had recently moved into in February of 2016. When I arrived there, my first mission was not only to get to know the people there, but to understand how they operated their business.
Yeah, we've been here actually since February, so the idea to move has been in the works for a while, but right now we're a manufacturing company. So I would say that we can manufacture a lot of different parts. So when it comes to attention to detail, quality parts, we're up there with the best. So where we need to just go, where we're growing to is that now we have to build more vehicles, we have to expand into new markets. So that's one of our challenges, to do well and keep that quality high. So when you're small, it's easy to keep your quality very high. As you start to grow, we need to not lose that culture. And I think we're doing a good job so far.
So the manufacturing process is pretty lean here. So the way that it works is everything starts in kind of fabrication. The engineers kind of get the drawings over, they jig things together, just get everything set. In the fabrication area, this is where the welding happens of brackets and various components. This is where they actually build the chassis, from the tube bending to the tube shaping to the various different chassis parts. They're all welded together in fabrication. From there, they move on to powder coating or just a paint process in general. From there, you go over to the machine shop. It's dual purpose. Obviously, they're making parts for the Atom, but the other part is, since TMI is also a manufacturing company, they're making parts for, so if you need a brake caliper made, or if you need a specific component, you can source TMI to make these parts. So you look at the overall quality of some of the things that come out of this specific machine shop, it's pretty amazing. The next place that we move on to is warehousing. And warehousing is obviously critical if you're making your own parts. So they have this organized. And when you're building a car by hand, you need to know where the parts are at. You need to know the availability. They have a guy that's just dedicated to making sure that the people assembling the cars are on track, that there's no delays, we're not waiting for things. And then finally, we get to this kind of race-inspired install build bays, where one technician takes a car from the chassis and builds it from the ground up to its complete final, just overall build state. So one guy has a checklist like this and will check off as they go and build out each component, from brakes, suspension, to lights, radiator, electrical, cooling, motor installation. Everything is done by one guy. So you can make sure that there's no transition in quality, that there hasn't been anything missed.
All the owners here come from a motorsports background, so this is just how you build stuff. You set it up and you go start to finish in one build bay. It works very well for a small product like this, to ensure that we have enough for inventory control to build that car so it can continue to go forward. If you had an assembly line and you're missing one small piece, it backs everything up. So a build bay allows for that, so we can just keep working all the time, and then we'll make sure we get that piece. And it also provides pride of workmanship for that assembly technician, that, hey, this is theirs. There's a lot of pride in that they finish it and they see the finished product.
The first thing I thought of when I looked at the Atom 3 is the drivetrain. What's the foundation of this car? And when I saw these crates with K24 Honda engines, I had some questions.
So we get them, we have a technical partnership with Honda Performance Development. So we get the motor and transmission from HPD, brand new sealed unit, and that's what has gone in our cars since 2008.
It's the same, the transmission's the same story, right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, same story with the transmission. Now, Honda reliability kind of speaks for itself. They've got a great reputation for that, and all of that transfers into the Atom itself. Okay. So you're going to have low maintenance costs. It's a timing chain motor. There's no belts you have to worry about. And then there's an oil and filter.
Okay. Yeah, typical Honda stuff.
Yeah, and so they follow the typical maintenance schedules as a Honda Civic Si. Okay.
And you're getting support from Honda, the Honda Racing,
right,
on the motor and transmission as well. If you have any issues, you can hit back their engineering.
Yeah. We are constant communications with their engineering. That we give them feedback and that kind of stuff. So it's a great partnership, and then a great drivetrain in general.
And how is it? That's what I was going to ask. The people that are going to watch this, or people that are interested in this car, how the hell do you take really a 200 horsepower 4-cylinder car and then make it 360 horsepower reliably? I mean, what's the formula?
Right. So with everything, and you'll see some shots of the shop. We've got engineers on staff. We've got drivetrain specialists on staff, and if we lack in one area, we work with HPD, and they'll come down and help us with development. So the development on the 3S in particular was a year's process, and that's not only on the engine and transmission or engine tuning, but that's suspension tuning and brake setups, and there's all these certain items that we're not just throwing components on the car. We're actually putting the car on a shaker rig and doing string pots, and getting really technical with making sure the suspension is correct for the car. Now, going back to tuning, we had a representative come down. We spent 2 weeks on a dyno making this tune not only reliable. I mean, we saw some crazy numbers with some crazy boosts, but we want to tune that back, make the car reliable. As you saw in your test drive, the car is not only drivable at low speeds, at traffic lights and in traffic, as it is high speed. So it's come out to a good mixture of power and reliability.
And it's tuned, you said, very conservatively as
well.
well.
Yeah. So we want the cars to last forever. So it's a conservative tune on it, but at the same time, putting out decent horsepower numbers.
I mean, it's, when you told me it was conservative, it doesn't feel conservative.
Yeah,
I mean, it feels like it's like ready to explode. I mean, it's so volatile feeling. And it's tuned for 91 octane, you said, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So it is tuned for 91 octane, and the West Coast is our biggest market.
Okay.
And we want to make the cars usable out there.
And they have some of the worst fuel as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the other part of this is when you're designing a car and you're building it by hand, from start to finish, from fabrication to installation to final quality checks, it's a little strange because you wonder, how does all this engineering get done? Do they have a whole team, or is it just one person, or is it a group? So we talked to one of their lead engineers here to figure out how exactly they're doing some of this. So from your perspective, a lot of, you talk to a lot of engineers, namely younger ones that get out into the job market, and a lot of them will complain that all you do is sit at a desk, sitting there designing parts. You never really get hands-on to see the final product and if it's working or not. You had said that you actually get to see the process front to back, and you can see the things that maybe you did wrong, and you can actually go back and correct it. Tell me something.
Right, TMI is quite opposite than your normal engineering. So you see it from the start to beginning. So say if you want to design a new brake hat, you get your design ready. You go out there, you talk to the machinist, and he says, hey, we can do this, we can't do this. He makes a final product, you see it, you test it, put it on the car, track it, and then from there you have a part.
Okay. And does it help, you think, with manufacturing improvements doing it that way, where you actually got to see the start, the finished product, and to see, okay, maybe that wasn't such a good idea? Is there a huge benefit to you as an engineer to go through that process?
Right, it helps you, it lets you know what to do and what not to do.
Okay.
So maybe you did something the first time and hey, I can't do that again. So you get rid of that step in a sense. Say if you design a part and you make it out of maybe the wrong material, it's too soft, and it falls apart, melts, however you want to go with it. The next time, hey, I got to start off harder material. It's more to it than just drawing.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How would, you look at a lot of the larger manufacturers or, automotive manufacturers, how is it different from a big place where, you do one thing? How is your job different from like somebody that just sits at a desk all day and designs a control arm and they never see it? I mean, how is your job different?
Well, the hands-on part about it. If I design a control arm, then most likely I'll be the one that has to put it on the car. And usually, if not driving the car, they're testing with it.
Okay.
The other engineer, he'll never do that.
So here's an interesting question. So if you look at a lot of products, specifically vehicles, you get underneath, you start to work on them, and once you really get into the nitty-gritty, you think, why the hell did they engineer it this way, where it's almost impossible to service or work on? Is that just a side effect of having engineers completely removed from the manufacturing process, do you think? Is that something, the way that you do it, does that help make these vehicles easier to work on?
It could be. I think when engineers originally designed cars, they probably designed them the easiest to put together, maybe not the easiest to take apart.
Okay.
Quicker process through the plant flow.
All right.
Saves money. So us here, since we are singly manufacturing the car one by one, we can kind of take some time and say, hey, this doesn't work very well, we need to do something else.
Okay. Well, and probably too, you have your guys out here yelling at you if they have to, have a total pain in the ass on something too, right?
Absolutely, that's why we make ECRs.
We're inside the Ariel Atom. Holy shit. This thing is ridiculous. I mean, you can forget about horsepower, you can forget about any supercar. There's nothing that's like the acceleration of this motor and just this whole chassis. It's crazy. I've been in a lot of cars. I've been on track. I've done karting, and there's nothing that I can use to explain how visceral this car is to drive, be it in a straight line or in the turns. It's just, you feel everything in here. And it's not feel everything in a bad way. This will test somebody, you know, if you want to push this car, this will test a driver with a very high skill level. And that's one of the coolest things about the Atom. The performance of this car is limited by the driver's skill, really. If you're going to go out on a track, it's really going to test you, and I think a lot of people are going to like that challenge. You know, so out on the highway, that's one of the things people are concerned about. It. Do you feel like you're in a death trap, or, you know, what is it like? And, you know, when you're going 55, 60, it's surprisingly refined for what this car is. Yeah, you're really low compared to other cars, but I never get a sense of like, oh, I'm gonna be run over in this thing. And the other thing is, people notice this car. I was talking to some people about, you know, who is this car for? Is it for more track people? Is it for people that like to race? Well, it's not just for those people, because it's accessible to somebody who wants more of an exotic car. This car every day without doing that every single time you come to a stop. I mean, it is just so much fun. There's nothing like it. When you're driving around just normal on the highway, you know, you almost forget with this windscreen. You actually have a windshield wiper here. I mean, it's a totally functional aero windscreen. I don't need a helmet to drive this car, and that's something that I came fully prepared to have a full face helmet on driving it the whole time, and I haven't had to do that. I've almost forgot, well, as much as you can forget, that I'm driving some ridiculously fast, you know, exotic car here. So right now we're on a kind of a bumpy road. This would be considered a very rough surface. Now, there's not a lot of potholes or bumps, technically big bumps. And, you know, you have high performance dampers on here, and they are double adjustable. The thing is yes, you can tweak the dampers to your liking. So if you want it to be super soft for the street, you can do that. Right now, these are on a middle setting. Personally, I don't find it to be that offensive. It dampens the bumps well, but it is, you know, it's a firm ride. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be this is gonna be unsatisfactory to probably 99% of people, except those looking for, you know, a high level, high performance car like this. Yeah, the other thing too is the Atom has one of the most stickiest set of street tires you can get. I mean, these are really, in all intents and purposes, track tires. So, you know, a lot of your ride compromise is going to come from just how firm the rubber is. There's a lot of tire noise here. But, you know, if you're driving this on the street, you almost want to get something a little less aggressive. It's going to smooth out your ride. It's not going to have as much tire noise. If you're more of a street warrior, you have that option there too. The biggest thing for me getting in the Atom 3S, you know, you throw the power away, throw the manual transmission away, throw the open road feel. This manual steering rack, it makes you sad for every other car. you realize just how much we're missing with electronic power steering and hydraulic power steering in most normal street cars. It spoils you to actually be behind the wheel of this. How much is actually transmitted into the steering wheel to realize this is just directly connected to these wheels. Well, the next thing is these turn signals. I mean, yes, you need turn signals, and this is the only way they could do it, is this toggle switch, which is like throwing a circuit breaker at home when you blow your power out. And it's just something you got to get used to, remembering to turn it off because it doesn't auto deactivate. But again, the things that you nitpick in here are just ridiculous when you actually start driving this thing in the corners or in a straight line. You can forgive all this crap because it's not about any of that. It's about the overall driving experience. So the next bad thing, and this may be a good thing depending on who you are, if you buy this car, you will become an immediate celebrity. I don't care who you are, everybody notices you. And if you're somebody that likes to go totally incognito, sleeper style, you're not gonna buy an Atom, that's for sure. Now the one thing that the Atom 3S has from the last Atom 2 that I was in about 10 years ago is they've switched this over to a turbocharger. And yes, now you don't have the whine of a supercharger, but you have this massive, it sounds like the biggest electric blow dryer you could imagine behind your ear when you're on the boost. It just is sucking the life out of you when you're on your full throttle. It's something that I can't, again, it's something that's so unique to this car that you're never gonna experience in any other exotic or any other car, or street car that for that matter. The next thing is the brakes. And that tire squeal tells you right off the bat, you don't have ABS in here. And one of the coolest things about that, again, is you have a manual steering rack. You don't have electronic brake distribution and braking assist. It's just you and the brake pedal. And if you're somebody who enjoys track driving, autocross, whatever you do in terms of performance, you're gonna love braking in this. You relearn threshold braking, how to get into a turn right before that lockup point. The other cool thing is you have an adjustable brake bias knob here right behind the steering wheel, so you can transfer more braking power front to rear. And that's good because if you're somebody who likes the trail brake, to get hard on the brakes, the threshold brake, and a trail brake to get that rear end to come around in the turns, especially if you're autocrossing, that's handy to have. And it's just another aspect of this car that it makes it more of the real deal. The other aspect is this motor and transmission. It is a Honda-sourced 2.4 liter with a 6-speed manual. And what Honda's done with their gearbox translates right through this car. The linkage is really good. It feels exactly like you would expect out of a Honda. There's no binding. There's no, well, what gear am I in? It feels exactly the same with just a little bit more firmness, more directness here from the way they've set this up. Some of the stickiest street tires you can buy that are legal. These are technically better for the track. I mean, you have to be definitely in higher temperatures to get a lot of stick. So if you go out on a cold day, you're going to be roasting these rear tires. They're just going to have no traction. But the thing is, you have traction control on the 3S here. It's a Honda setup, so it's looking at wheel speed sensors to actually cut timing when you're braking, braking grip in the rear. And that's gonna save your ass, especially if you're not one of those people that is used to this type of power. You don't have a huge history of driving experience. All you have to do is turn the knob to maximum control and you're barely gonna break the tires loose. everything that you would think, well, you know, you got to start from first or second to get all the fun. And that's the crazy part about this car, is it doesn't matter what gear you're in, where you're at. I'm in fifth, and if I just drop the hammer here, doesn't matter, you're flying. I don't know what the 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 time is, and that really doesn't matter, because you do that enough and you're gonna be in jail with a really messy pair of underwear. I mean, I can't imagine, like, if I was like 15 years younger and I was in this, dude, I'd be dead. You know, like, I think you have to reach a certain, you have to pass the maturity test to drive this car without killing yourself. We're at Virginia International Raceway. This is a really nice facility. I've never been here. So instead of me wasting time putting around a track I don't know, we're gonna have this gentleman tear up the course. So after spending enough time in the Atom 3S on the street, on the track, seeing how it's made, the thing is just insane. It's got supercar levels of performance, actually above and beyond that in some cases. And I thought, well, what if you're the type of person that just doesn't want all that, doesn't need it? Well, they do make an Atom 3 that's naturally aspirated, a 2.4 liter with the same 6-speed manual. That might actually be better in some cases. It's just less scary if you're not somebody that needs all that power. The other model that they also offer is the SRA, which is specifically designed for those who want to do track all the time. It's ready to go. The actual chassis is reinforced. The roll hoop is designed to be structural in a rollover. There's just a lot of elements there and reinforcements in terms of chassis, suspension, and then of course oil cooling. So if you're somebody that just all they care about is driving on the track, the SRA is going to handle you, and you're also going to be able to compete wheel to wheel with that. Most enthusiasts know by now that Ariel is a UK-based company. A man named Simon Saunders started up this whole project, and now it's in America, and it has been in America for quite a while. Now the thing is, what does TMI have to do with Ariel in the UK? Well, this is a standalone division of it. This entire car is made here. The engine's made in America. The manufacturing's done here. for all intents and purposes, this is a more American car than a lot of vehicles on the road. And that's one of the charming aspects of it. It's creating jobs for local people. It's involving the community. They're trying to take a small town that's kind of limited in resources and grow it from places like this. And there's something to be said about that. And also the dedication of a group of people that are actual car enthusiasts. It's so refreshing to see in a world where we're just so saturated with mass market products that have no soul to them. And that's really been my takeaway of this whole trip.
TMI is probably one of our best, most recent examples of how the Industrial Development Authority partners with our existing companies to help them grow. TMI came here 8 years ago with an idea and a license to build the Ariel Atom, and from there have grown tremendously. They have invested in our workforce, they have invested in our community, and the IDA has helped them along the way by asking them what they need and then helping them fill those needs to kind of ease and speed their way to market that gives them some advantage and helps our people. So it's really a partnership, and that's what we try to forge in Halifax County. We understand that there are a lot of communities out there that can offer a company like TMI the basics, land, labor, and capital. Everybody has that in some form or fashion. And once we are able to find a good fit like TMI and we can meet those basic needs, then we try to move it to kind of a higher level of real long-term successful partnership.
You weren't doing this to become millionaires when you started, I'm assuming. This had to have been extremely costly. How did you focus your mind in going from point A to point B? Was it financial success that you were seeking, or was it just for the passion of doing what you wanted to do? How did you get started in that?
Well, I came from the motorsports background, so originally I thought I'd drive race cars, so I was fortunate to be able to race a lot of cool cars, to do a lot of things like that. And then one thing led to the next, and it's all about the people you know, relationships that you build throughout time, really. And so the people I work with now, I've worked with for years and years. No, it was just to build something, to see it grow. And I don't know if you asked me when I was younger where we'd want to be. I don't know if I could have told you that answer. Maybe you thought money, which it's not. Maybe you thought it's cars, but right now what's cool is growing the business, working with the community, hiring the next employee. When we go out and do company events, we do company picnics, things like that. So growing the business has actually been the adrenaline rush that I used to fill with racing on the track.
Okay.
So the growth is a lot of fun. Seeing what we do on a daily basis, solving problems is the adrenaline. So, a business, it fits that need. So I'm an adrenaline junkie, and most days this does it for me.
Don't buy into some critics who say that America is lost, that we are not what we once were and never will be again. Don't believe that. We are still the same society, the same civilization. That was really founded on the idea that people can do better for themselves than the previous generation and provide better for the next generation. Take a good hard look, talk to the local economic developer, the state economic development agency, wherever they are, and say, hey, here are our ideas, what can you do? They might be surprised the amount of support that's out there. And I think just look in your own backyard first if you're in the US, and if you're somewhere else, take a look at us too, because we really can support good, strong companies like TMI, and that's something else I want to emphasize. We can't make a bad business plan work, but we can make a good business plan work better and faster, and that's what TMI brings. They're not only good automotive manufacturers, they're good business people. They know their markets, they know their product, they know their distribution, they know their logistics. And when they came to us and said, hey, we'd like to do this, and we recognized they had their act together, we said, well, shoot, we can just help maybe make it a little smoother for you.